The following podcast may contain spoilers.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. It's been a while.
Oh, those ones are the worst. I don't like those. That always unsettles me because that implies that I wandered into a stranger's home.
But you're not a stranger, you're friends here at the hearth of the Treading the Path of Heaven podcast.
Yeah, and we need to talk about this, Kenny. This is an intervention.
We can't have these overly familiar intros, Kenny. They're gonna turn some people off for sure.
They're tearing this podcast apart.
Hey everybody, this is the Treading the Path of Heaven podcast. We're back again this week with another exciting episode. I say this week, not in the sense that we had an episode last week, but more that we exist in a week.
That's true.
We
could just say
happen.
this time.
I could, but it's, old habits die hard.
We might be weekly one day.
That should be like the newest iteration of the Die Hard series.
Honestly don't, unless this podcast, literally paid enough to support me financially by itself, I don't think I could read enough to do this podcast weekly.
Bi-weekly is exhausting. I love it, but
At the point on our Patreon where we said that we would do weekly, we would be getting $200 an episode. So that's not enough to live on, but it's enough to add significantly to your living expenses.
So what are we reading? Or
Well,
who are we?
I'm Jonathan Kinney.
Oh yeah, I'm Bill.
I'm Rich.
I forgot who I am.
Okay. And this is the Treading the Path of Heaven podcast. This week we're talking about...
Hi to Ginso no Grimgar. Or, if you old school like me, Grimgal or Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash.
Recently had an anime, I think...
3 years ago.
Well, yeah.
That's recent in the grand scheme of the universe.
I mean, so it's crazy, right? I started reading this, and it was translated on this old backwater blogspot website, right?
2013.
Oh my god!
Scanlations?
And I was reading it, and I'm like, oh crap! I'm on volume 6, and I'm like, oh crap! They're making an anime for this. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. And the anime they made for it is kind of gorgeous. It's all watercolor. The only downside I have with it is because they were so focused on the watercolor backgrounds and the way things look, and the way they made the city of Alternia and the place that the Red Moon guys are. They put the ocean, the sea near it. And if you look at the map of the book, because this book, the way that you map, that you travel, all of it, it's D&D, the light novel. So this is a high fantasy world, and they are in a landlocked city at the beginning. So there's no way they'd be able to see the ocean.
Landlocked city by the ocean, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so no, that does sound terrifying because, as a person who has DM'd multiple campaigns, the amount of work you have to put into just creating a setting for a campaign is exhausting, and that's when most of it is being built in your imagination, not physically or being drawn.
Yeah.
So, especially if they're going for a high aesthetic like a watercolor, I can't imagine, how was... Well, I mean, we're not talking about the anime, but I'm just curious, was the animation good?
Oh, yeah, it was gorgeous. If you are unsure if you want to read this light novel, I want you to go ahead and look up the first fight that happens in Grimgar.
I'm pretty sure that's the only part of the series I've actually seen, was that fight against the goblin, right?
Yeah, the one goblin versus, was it 6 level 1 people?
Yeah.
And they've never hurt anyone before. And they're dealing with the fact that, oh my god, my sword just touched his bone. And he's just shaking and afraid. And dealing with the pressure of you're taking another thing's life. Another intelligent thing's life is not hard. And also, killing someone isn't that easy either. It's easy and not. Because people and beings are more durable than you realize. Yeah, you stabbed him. He ain't dead yet. He gonna take you out with him.
He wants to live.
He wants to live.
That's why you gotta be Dolu Adalu. You gotta have the Godly Juge crossbow that just kills him and poisons him if it doesn't.
And just does it cleanly and makes you go throw up later. I'm gonna just delve right into a brief description here. The author is Jumanji Owl.
Jumanji Owl?
Owl.
Ouch. My Jumanji.
Ao.
Oh, okay.
Jumanji is all capital. AO is...
Well, that's probably Owl as in the first syllable of Oscar.
Anyways, the
Little
description
nickname.
from novel translation reads, "Why are we doing this? When Haruhiro came to, he was in a darkness, not knowing why he was here or where here even was. Wow. With him were others who also remembered little more than their own names. What they found when they came out of the underground was a world that was just like a game. In order to survive, Haruhiro forms a party with others in the same situation as him, learns skills, and takes his first steps towards the world of Grimgar as a trainee volunteer soldier. Not knowing what awaits him, this is the tale of an adventure born from the ashes."
Yeah, that sounds like D&D, the light novel.
Oh, bruh. You don't quite understand. Okay, let me lay the groundwork from the beginning. Bunch of people they show up in like a dark, dank room, right? It's in this tower called the Forbidden Tower, which is on the edge of a frontier city of the last known human kingdom on this continent. We don't know. They don't know how big it, whatever. They show up. All they smell is flesh, sweat. It's dark. There's a locked door, no exit, and guards on the door waiting for them to open them up and bring them. They don't know where they are. They don't know who they are. They have no memory of their past life.
Okay.
All they know is their name and nothing else.
Yeah, see, I was going to ask if Truck or Terrorist could made an appearance, but they don't know their lives, so that answers that.
We don't know anything. That's actually part of the mystery. This world is very well set up. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say Dune tier specifics of background,
But it clearly evokes that level.
Very, very in depth.
Okay.
This is very much a D&D world before I continue from that point, because these are just normal people from clearly our world.
Mm-hmm.
And not just Japanese people, like people. This is happening. There's multiple planes, and this is kind of a spoiler in the future, but I'm gonna let you know there's multiple planes in this world. There's an Underdark in this world. There are gods. They are very real and they can enforce their power, but there's planes where their power has no effect that our characters end up at. This is a story where the trope anyone can die is very real and happens all the time.
Wonderful.
You'll have a character that shows up and you think they're going to be here for the long haul. They're like an MC. No.
Nah, their body.
And they make you feel bad because they connect you with these characters. There's a huge cast of characters in this. You get to meet the teams and the people and all the people that showed up here, the people who look physically impressive, the people that aren't, but everyone starts from the same beginning. But anyway, our MC, or as much as we can call him that, Haruhiro, he wakes up there and he's surrounded by people and he just kind of investigates and looks around. They do the description of all the characters. The main characters you're going to get at the very beginning are going to be Haruhiro, my man Ranta. A lot of people don't like him. Ranta. I like Ranta, okay? Character design, the way they did the art in the light novel, the way they did the art in the anime. You guys ever seen Akira?
Yeah.
You ever seen Tetsuo?
Of course.
He looks like a redheaded Tetsuo.
Okay.
All right.
That's the main character. That's
I'm just
him.
imagining a red-haired dude on that bike, and there's just like, wait, there's no contrast.
There's also there's Yumi. Yumi is the ranger of their party.
Okay.
Shihiro is the mage of their party, and they have a cleric, Minato, who's like the team face and the leader of their group.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. Do they have their classes when they like show up, or do they
No.
pick them?
They show up, they're just dudes.
Okay.
They show up and door opens, they stop smelling flesh, they're not packed in, they get let out, and there's armed guards there, and they lead them into the city. And they have a couple options when they get in the city. And you got these guards are like, do this every day. There's always a new group coming in, new people to replenish. They're volunteer soldiers to replenish their ranks. Then they have an option of joining the volunteer soldiers or starving, basically. Not getting, if you can't work, you can't eat. You can't get money, you can't do nothing. You're gonna
That's
die.
fair. Yeah.
These people are not here to save you. They get there, they get a little bit of money to pay for their entry into one of the guilds. There's a Thieves Guild, there's a Dark Knights Guild, there's a Paladin Guild, clerics, mages, hunters, all this shit.
So you just go join the guild to pick a class.
Yeah, pretty much. Our main character joins the Thieves Guild.
Nice.
And they go through his training, learning skills, all of it. Like, very interesting. Haruhiro's a little bit special. He's a timid kind of boy. He's a little, like everyone, but he's a little more timid than normal. It takes the trials and tribulations he goes through to rise into the character he becomes. And even then, he's still not the best. As strong as our characters become, as much as they work hard, all it takes is getting stabbed to die.
Sure.
As high level as you get, they get good at evading stuff and reading combat, seeing gleaming line. Like you discover later, he has the rare talent of seeing the gleaming line, the line that will guarantee a kill on something. Like, this is a weakness. If I can see the line, I can kill it. And he can't force it to appear, and he doesn't know when it'll appear. And he like gets depressed because he can't. There's a time where he needs it to happen, and he can't make it happen. And people die because he can't make it happen. They have to run for their lives. It's the thing you're gonna get used to people running for their lives. But they get here and they take their first job, right? We're going to walk and we're going to try to kill some goblins. Their group becomes pretty good at killing goblins. By good, I mean not good at all, but solid, right? They work together. They use their teamwork to kill goblins. They grow together. They learn cooperation, all of that. Oh, I forgot to mention another person that's in this party, and it's another great character, Mugozu. All right, it's a big guy. They convince him to join the Warriors Guild and become their tank.
All right.
Mugozu's a large man. All right, large boy, very strong, very dependable. The way the writer sets up these characters is he gets you invested in the character of people less so as fighters. Like I know more about Mugozu the fact that, you know, when him and Ranta find a way to get back home, they're going to set up a ramen shop together. Mugozu likes to cook and, you know, is a real soft-spoken, very kind guy. And you're making this person who, if they were in their home world, they would never pick up a weapon to attack someone. And you make them have to fight orcs and goblins and kobolds and undead. Like, it's crazy. So when bad things inevitably do happen, because that's another problem you have here is these characters get these missions from these different governments, right? This government from the kingdom they're in that provides them their gold. 5 gold if you do this. A gold is enough to survive for like a month of just comfortable. So like, also need to use your gold to buy gear so you can stay relevant and protect yourself.
Yeah.
Because you can go out with the base stuff, but you're gonna die.
It may not be the first mission, but it's gonna happen.
The casualty rate is so enormous, and the people don't care about you because you're just some people just showed up.
Are there any, like, I hate to throw a Korean trope in here, any, like, high rankers in the mix? Like, people who are, like...
There's a guy named Soma, and he founds a clan called the Daybreakers. His team is Team Soma, and they are in the Red Moon militia or whatever, considered the strongest. They're seeing that there's going to be the rise of this being called the No Life King, the Undying King, raising up seas of undead to lay siege of things. He's doing this is going to happen on the Alternia continent. It's gonna happen. The Undead King, Undying King is gonna rise up and kill everyone. Soma lost one of his teammates when they were starting out. I think her name was Nino. She died. And he's obsessed with finding a way to bring her back to life. So they've been pushing themselves, diving in the undead, doing all these missions, getting stronger and stronger to find ways of bringing back their companions.
Let's be honest, that's like legitimately the most believable fucking quest in a D&D world, because bringing people back to life is a provably extant thing in a D&D world. So like, yeah, of course, people don't try that in this life because we did try, and we just didn't find a way that worked. So if you could find a way that worked, yeah, I believe any character that is motivated by that quest.
It's brutal too, because this is a little bit of spoilers. We discovered in like volume 3 that our main character's having dreams. All right, in the dreams he sees 2 women, one of which he doesn't know, and one of which he ends up seeing in a new group that shows up in the city from the Forbidden Tower. He sees her. He's not sure who she is, doesn't know her name, meets her, comes to find out that she joins the Thieves Guild. Her name is Choco. When she dies, he gets his memories back that they both grew up together, went to the same schools, grew up in the same area, and he was in love with her.
Oh.
After she dies, after he sees her, an orc cut her in half. Because he was trying to save her. He was trying to save her. They were a new group. They were a weak group. And he watches her and her entire party die in front of him. Because he couldn't do anything about it. And the deaths are brutal. Like, super brutal. Like, people die of exhaustion. There's a character that you're going to love that dies of exhaustion because he put his body on the line and took bruises and all other stuff. And they end up surviving and beating this thing. And they just collapse and die because he pushed his body too far. And there's limits to divine holy magic. If you lost too much blood, or if you didn't take care of the wound first and you tried to heal it, you try to use healing spells and you haven't removed the arrow, it'll heal around the arrow and cause more issues. It plays it straight with a realistic depiction of also divine magic and things of that nature in this brutal high fantasy world. And it's more of a focus on the mentality of the characters in this world. I want to talk about more, but I also don't want to spoil it because it is a great trip because you get to experience these characters. And they also sometimes the writer will do the George R.R. Martin and switch the point of view to a different character when they're doing something like outside. There's a part where Ranta gets separated from the party and he's trapped on a lower floor in a kobold stronghold that they didn't want to go to, by the way. They're forced into. They got separated. Ranta distracted them, took off running, and watched Ranta, like Solid Snake, survive, hiding in fungus farms and ditches and summoning his demon familiar who wants him to die. Because, okay, so he's a Dread Knight, right? He's a Death Knight. They changed the name of Dread Knight in later volumes, but he's a Death Knight, right?
Okay, yeah.
He joined the Death Knight Guild because it seemed cool. He later found out that when you join the Death Knight Guild, you have to swear a vow of abstinence. Now, here's the thing. This character did not do that. He immediately stopped trying to go to a brothel after. But this Ranta talks a lot of shit, right? Okay. But he does that to psych himself up to do things.
Yeah.
The way Death Knights work is they sacrifice a vice to summon a familiar. The more vices they sacrifice, the stronger that familiar gets. When this happens, he just got the ability to summon a familiar. It's extremely weak. All it does is float there, keep him company, alerting him of things coming, and tell him to die. It just insults him the entire time. But he loves it. Because of that event of him hiding for his life, using all of his tools, running, he can't fight anything here. He will die. They will alert. He is deep in enemy territory, hiding for his life, waiting, eating mushrooms off the ground, surviving, pissing in the holes, hiding in ditches, waiting for anyone to come and save him. And it's like the most riveting read of watching Ranta fight to survive. But it's also a viewpoint of Ranta his companions never get to see. They never get to see the side of Ranta where he survives at any cost. At any cost. There's a point in the future where Ranta has to betray his group and fake fight his enemy, and he injures himself because he didn't want to hurt Haruhiro. Lets himself get stabbed because he wanted to make sure that him and their new cleric got survived. So the cleric got chained up because she wouldn't agree. He agreed to protect her, but no one knows because they think Ranta's just an asshole. Because he's an asshole to everyone. He just talks shit. He's perverted. He doesn't care, but that's just what he does, right?
Yeah.
And you get these sides to all the characters. Even the bad guys. They're not bad guys. They're just people living their own way in this world. Even the orcs. There's orcs with charisma that lead their own band of dudes and create their own guilds. That's a thing that's happening. It's crazy.
This is like a fun sounding D&D world. It sounds like they're hitting the fun parts, like the ability to build dynamic characters that go very interesting places, because a D&D world offers choices all the time
that just transcend their limitations set upon by like just preconceptions.
Yeah,
they do what they want.
It's got a system, huge backstory that any other stuff would just focus on the backstory and would follow the Soma group doing stuff.
Yeah,
because Soma is the main character of this world, basically. But no, you follow just a regular party. This is a regular party that subsists off of working together really well, using tactics and knowing what they can and can't do.
So this is a low-level D&D party in a high-level D&D world.
Yes.
Okay.
It's terrifying.
So relate this to Goblin Slayer.
So, Goblin Slayer, you know how Goblin Slayer only heals goblins, all the other stuff? You know how goblins do stuff or whatever? Imagine the goblins from Goblin Slayer, except these goblins have more technology. Like, everyone is the smart goblin.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Goblins
that's a problem.
have tactics. Goblins target your weak characters. Goblins use arrows and technology. There's hobgoblins in this, too. Like, there's a bestiary. Think about the bestiary you would see if you opened up, like, your Pathfinder bestiary. They had that. Except everything has intelligence levels. So, like, they know you have a healer.
They're gonna try and kill it.
Kill your healer. You didn't protect your healer? Well, your healer's dead and you don't have one. Good luck.
Fuck, they're in a War Games DM?
Yes.
Oh, those poor bastards.
It's brutal.
Everybody gets tactics.
I'm going to just jump ahead because I'm trying not to spoil things. There's a point where they end up in a place called, it's like a dusk world, where it's a world always in dusk, and they're having a battle, and in the middle of, like a battle for their life, to not get killed by the giant king or whatever, and calling in help and people going through the portal to get there because they had to get to an area, then go through a portal in that area, like the Wonder Hole, go through a portal in the Wonder Hole in the Dust Town, and they discover that no divine magic works here. The God of Light has no effect in the Dust City,
Well, of course
in the
not.
Dust World.
What were they thinking? Didn't they read that in the manual?
Here's the problem. They're being sieged, which means they can't recover endurance. If they get stabbed, they need to use regular medicine. That means you need to pull him out of this portal, which they're sieging to stop you from leaving,
To heal
to
him real
get
quick.
magical healing.
That's awful.
Which means there's a lot of people dying while being brought, like going into comas and passing out, pulling their friends out of the portal. And then you're praying the portal doesn't get taken over or blown up either. And you're trapped in this dust town without divine magic and no way to get home that you know of. Or you got to comb this world that's hostile to you to find a portal to another plane to try to get back to Grimgar.
Why can't they just be like that Death Knight dude and just man mode it all the way through?
Very few people are like Ranta.
Oh.
And the other thing is, when the party splits, it's terrifying and brutal, like in real D&D.
Yeah.
And
You don't split the party. That's just the rule.
the latest volume they went through a portal and the party split across a hostile continent
Oh no.
where, like, the sweet wind gives illusions and destroys your mental strength. When people our main characters start having mental breakdowns and thinking that all the people who he's met, who are with him or who've died, are figments of his imagination and this isn't real.
Oh, it's
And
a,
breaking
That's fair.
down in both, like, tears and whatever, and our character has to deal with that
it's a-
while trying to survive in this desert with things that want to kill them.
Oh man, it's the coma dream of a kid who memorized the entire Pathfinder DM's manual and bestiary. Or D&D. What would this be most equivalent to in terms of brutality? Second edition?
I was gonna say that they're a little bit more forgiving to the constitutions of characters, so I was gonna say more like Pathfinder or 3.5.
Okay.
That's hard to say.
There's
'cause, like,
multi-classing. I'm gonna talk about a character here that I really like. You come to find out that she went to school with the main character. Her name is Memoro, and she's called the Giantess. She's just a giant woman by their standards. She's a 6-foot woman who was a mage, wearing the mage getup. But the thing is, when she first got there, she joined the Warriors Guild because she was big and strong for a woman.
yeah.
And then later joined the Mages Guild and then made a mage's staff that unsheaths it is a great sword.
That's fantastic.
It's great. She spent
wonderful.
all of her money on it. All of her money went into that sword staff.
Beautiful, wonderful.
As long as it can do both things.
It can do both.
Yeah.
But like magic gets nuts. Things get nuts. But also they're still people and also will still die if someone stabs them.
Yeah. Nah,
Or arrows.
sounds-
Arrows are crazy. Like in siege battles, okay, this is a side story again. They're not gonna call them NPCs, but natives of this world offered a mission, and it was a Operation Twin Mouths or whatever, where they were going to assault an orc stronghold. Right, hundreds of people, multiple teams, and the real army are participating in this. And they're like 5 gold to each person of each team that participates in this and gets it. Haruhiro was like, oh, that's a death trap. I'm not participating in it. And then Choco's group signs up. So he's like, I'm going to sign up my group and I'm going to protect them because for some reason I feel the need to protect them. And he gets it and they hand him the worst job possible. Carry the siege ladders into arrows and awful things. And the main offensive fails. So all of the defenses start crowding them until the big, higher level, stronger dudes show up to save the day, but not in time to save the lower level dudes. And the beauty of it here is because these things they're fighting are smart, they're using tactics too. So these big, nigh invincible, strong players, characters, people, teams, Team Soma, Team Kazuhira, all these show up. They go around them to where the support people are, and they start killing the weaker dudes.
Oh yeah.
Because why fight with them when I can take care of them and kill their logistics?
Well, yeah, you kill the workers so they can't have any crystals or Vespian gas.
Kill the buffs.
Yeah. Which sucks because
Those people are hard to train up.
yeah, you could join a guild, and if you have no talent for the guild, you just won't make it through training and won't be able to get it anyway. So not everyone can be a cleric. Not everyone can be a thief.
There's a fucking reason why old fucking MMOs had a lot of pickup groups fucking looking for clerics.
Absolutely.
A good warrior or a good paladin, a good frontline fighter requires one, someone who's hardy enough to survive. Two, physically imposing enough to survive. Three, willing to take that hit for someone. Willing to put their life on the line for someone. So finding the right person is hard. Finding a frontliner is hard. Surviving without someone being your vanguard is difficult. And we have a team here where they had to do that for a bit. Where Haruhiro, they lost their frontline guy. They lost him. They lost a friend. They had to bury them. And they also need to keep eating because we can't take breaks and just grieve. We need to eat because we'll die. So now we have to relearn our tactics one person down now.
Ugh.
And how hard that is.
It's a slightly different game.
Or bring someone someone new into our system, and if they don't have the same synergy with us, we're putting our life on the line because they're not vibing with us or they're not doing enough.
Definitely takes like a more gritty, realistic approach instead of like, it's okay, it's fantasy, don't worry about it.
Yes.
They got food, because food happens.
It's brutal. What can I talk about that isn't shocking, that isn't spoiler? It's just...
I think you very clearly demonstrated like the emotions of this book. It's like, it sounds very brutal, very intense.
But the happy times are great too. The interactions with characters. People confess in this. Like, this is not like typical Japanese where people are just getting cucked. People confess in this.
Sure.
And sometimes people get shut down. Haruhiro gets confessed to by someone, and he just has to tell them, I'm sorry.
Like, no more time for this.
I can't, and we don't know what the future holds. To let them know nicely, because I like you as a person. That's not what I think I'm trying to do right now, you know?
Yeah.
And there are people who run to people's bodies to deal with there's a drinking problem with the people who got transported here because they're killing things.
Yeah, man.
And they spend all of their money drinking because that's the only escape they have.
From the PTSD.
Yeah. There's a reason why there's a tavern, and the tavern is the biggest thing in the city because how else do you expect to escape your miserable existence? You could die tomorrow for all you know. You could die tonight.
Yeah, no, I was surprised, because this is very much a Japanese story, but it's weird because Japan seems to hit these weird niches where it's either the very typical Japanese MC who's getting cucked and it all turns out they want to save everyone and it all turns out for good, or they write these deeply complex stories that are about despair.
Yeah.
Not to say that good things don't happen, because they do, but it almost feels like when these sort of stories are being written, the good things that happen exist to more clearly be a foil for the darkness that exists in the story.
I think that's the best way to explain it. This is also one of the few things I've read where it reminds me of D&D, where every step forward is a sacrifice and every step forward is a fight. It's always 3 steps forward, 2 3/4 steps back.
Characters having to struggle for what they get is always compelling, at very least.
This novel, 13 volumes in, you know how there's novels or Japanese novels where that first struggle for your main character before they have all their skills or whatever is very intense, and them using everything they have to survive.
Mhm.
And then they learn more, and then they grow, and suddenly that stuff is trivial.
Mhm.
It never gets trivial because if they mess up once, it's over. Yes, we've killed hundreds and hundreds of goblins. Yes, we are known as the best for killing goblins. We fuck up once, it's over. An arrow hits you in the face. Don't matter if you weren't wearing armor, if your armor wasn't good enough, or you didn't manage your armor, or if they got in between your gear and stabbed you, you're bleeding to death now.
Yep.
One false move and it can just be over. As strong as you get. I think they portray AC really well in this, in that they don't say AC, but it is what AC is. It's your ability to avoid, endure, all of that. Your armor, all of it. It's not just you taking a hit and doing it. You move slightly so when this knife dug into your neck, it didn't slit your carotid artery. Because you avoided just enough to avoid that. Now you're injured, but you're not fatally injured.
Yeah. No,
I
I
like
like
that.
that interpretation of AC.
Yeah. Like,
You're just making me want to play D&D. But I guess also watch and or read this.
Yeah, I recommend watch the first season, see if you like the season, and then read it. And then once you read it, you realize this is so much more, and it's so good. Like it really is really good.
Is there like a major thread, like a mythical quest that they're on, or is it just
There's
like
a bunch of things going on.
Well, I
Like,
get-
there's Soma, right? Soma's on his mythical quest.
Okay.
These guys are just trying to survive first and foremost, and because they're trying to survive or save face, they're getting pulled into things. He joins Daybreakers because Soma shows up and saves their life, and sees our hero has potential as a tactician and a leader because he's leading his group and doing things other people are one too afraid to do or B would choke and do, dealing with the shaking and all the other stuff. He joins to save face and also have a communicator to call them whatever, and also to discover more mysteries of what's going on, the secrets of Grimgar, what's happening, why this is happening, how to get back, because they don't want to be here anymore. That's their goal. Our hero does not want to be here anymore. He doesn't know everything about his history, but he just knows that wherever he was is better than this hell. As you're moving forward, more things get revealed and more things get taken. We didn't get to talk about Jesse Smith, but I'm just going to mention Jesse Smith here. And this is several volumes in. He's a character I think is really interesting. One, he's an American. He is obscenely strong. He has his own area he protects by himself. He names Jesse Land.
Jesse Lamb?
Jesse Land. They only discover it because they end up on the opposite side of the continent after they escaped collapsing plane. Because they've been avoiding and they're trying to get back to Grimgar, trying to get back to where they were.
Sure.
Because they got a SOS call from Soma. Everyone in the Daybreakers returned to where they are. When they were in like the Underdark, they're Underdark in here, and they had just found a comfortable living and they were doing stuff and found a way to make gold by killing things. And they were like, people think we're dead, we'll just stay here and just, this is just our life until we die. And he gets the call back and he's like, I guess we'll try to make it back. I'm not going to spoil how they do that or what characters and the interactions with that. But he ends up in Jesse Land, and Jesse is a character that first got introduced in a side story at the end of volume 10, right?
Oh, I like those. So that if you put the extra work in or reading all the side stories, when the character
You would
shows
know
up,
who
you're like,
this character
haha.
is.
Like in Kamen Rider, when there's like a character from a movie and it shows up in the TV show, and you're like, what the fuck? And yeah, sorry.
This is a character who knows a lot of secrets of Grimgar, and he's also a character that's come back from the dead before.
Well, that's a good way to learn a bunch of secrets.
Yeah.
But the person
Solid
who did
route.
that and brought him back from the dead is gone. Everything has a cost, and he knows that cost. But because he didn't want to participate and assist with that, he's found his own area and protects his area by himself. You realize that there are a bunch of people in this world, and that this situation, people getting teleported to the Forbidden Tower and having to spread across all the planes and the continents and deal with this crap. There are a lot of people who got disillusioned with it and had to walk away from it. And we still don't know what's up with this Red Moon group. We still don't know what's causing this to happen. Whenever we are getting close to figuring stuff out, awful stuff starts happening. I don't know where this story's going, but 13 volumes in, it's not even close to being the end.
Yeesh.
That's good. So this is a One Piece
For a light novel, yeah,
It's got a story it's trying to tell, but as I understand it, there's been like 4 volumes that have come out in the past year or something.
Yeah, like in the past 2 years, it's been like 4 volumes,
Yeah,
4 or 5 volumes, which is impressive.
that's a good pace.
You want to do some genre savvy?
I would, except there's literally nothing.
How literally nothing? Is there nothing?
I mean,
There-
it
okay.
is a novel update, so
It's novel updates. Tags. Adapted to anime. Adapted to manga. Amnesia. Beautiful female lead. Calm protagonist. Game elements. Goblins. Monsters. Shy characters. Sword and magic.
Copy that one.
Transported to another world.
Yep.
World travel.
Yeah,
is that
got all
really
the...
all they used for this?
That is it.
Wow,
It does
We've
have a
already
high ranking of
Yeah,
4.1 out of 5.
read a review or
Main
two.
character
Those are
isn't
fun.
even calm. Not even a calm main character. He's freaking out deep inside of himself. He's freaking.
I mean,
but
if he's got a calm
his
exterior,
outer. I mean, of course, calm exterior got to. Because if he freaks out, everyone breaks down and everyone will die. Like any good leader, you can't show it. But he's breaking down deep on the inside, and they focus on that. I'm kind of offended by those tags.
This is why I was trying to ignore genre savvy and just skate on by. I liked it.
Inconsistent taggings.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We had other ones that were just full of like almost unnecessary tags, and this one has like 10.
There is a 5-star review in April 20th, 2016 by Promethean. Says, this is actually a great story. I'm surprised people don't like it. I guess it's because they expect the same old hot-blooded OP character that can do anything and survives only through plot armor. The pacing is slow, but also because the characters are slow, in more ways than one. They aren't super strong characters with limitless potential. They're normal people with normal abilities and feelings. It goes on. It is a rather long review, and in other words, unlike other series where the MC is extremely confident, arrogant, and he and his party are protected by plot armor, so no real danger befalls them, and they can slaughter everything unhindered without caution. This one, where even plot armor won't save them, and they can die even from a sword scratch.
yes. Very much.
That sounds like a glowing review.
There's also Lone Wolf 92, 1-star review, June of the same year.
Oh, let me hear this.
Yeah, I want to hear one.
Let me first begin by stating this. This show is slow as fuck. The blandest series I've ever read with the most bland characters. No plot. Everything is bland. Monato's death made no sense. It's also about children with bland personalities and awkward
All right,
interactions.
so this dude liked
dude's
one
just
character and got salty
this
when
dude-
they died.
This dude, okay, it's like someone watching Gurren Lagann and Kamina dies, and I'm not
It's
watching
so
anymore.
stupid.
This stupid show.
Fuck this show.
Ugh,
I can't believe they
ugh,
killed the
can't
main
watch it.
character, or close enough to the main character. He's the best.
Minato is who you think is the main character at the beginning of.
I have
this.
always been obsessed with writing a story that has a main character that is like a first person perspective for the first 2/3 of the book, and then they die, and then it switches to third person omniscient, which it actually has been the entire time. It's just been one character every time up until that point, and then the rest of the story progresses after their death.
There's another 1-star. I just wanted to read the first paragraph of it. I truly can't understand why so many people like this coming of age story. This is not a story about weak to strong. This is a story about people lacking common sense and how they suffer for it.
It's not common sense because no one has the common sense on how to fucking kill a kobold. People are missing. This isn't a hero story. This is regular dudes put in a scenario where they have to be the best hero they could be for themselves. You can't save anyone. You do your best as a group for all of us to live. You're not Jesus Yamato from Gundam Seed where you can choose, let's kill war. No. You're literally just an infantry on the streets. You can't dictate policy. You can't convince someone to agree with you. You just want to live.
You're not Carito.
You're fucking Adventurer D.
That's what you
Yeah.
are. And you're put in situations where we've been doing this for a year, killing the same goblins and living off a pittance every week. We can take this. They offer us a bigger job that's only slightly more difficult. We're feeling confident. All right. This is when Minato was around. We're feeling confident. We got this. Like, it's like Piccolo from Dragon Ball when he merged with Nell. I feel good. I feel great. I can do this. And they get there and things go wrong. They're in an area they haven't scouted before. They've been there before. They saw the goblins sleeping, but they didn't realize that they actually had someone on watch the entire time. They couldn't see them because they were hiding. So everyone is up. They have archers. This is the first time they're dealing with archers. They have a hobgoblin. They've never killed one of those before. They're doing the best they can. There's a limited amount of healing their characters can do. Monado gets hit by an arrow and tells no one. Because if he says something, their morale will collapse and they're already fighting for their lives. They make a mad dash to escape this area using distraction and running. While they're running, Monado gets caught by the arrow, by the way. But he's like, keep going, guys. We got this. They make it to safety, outrunning those dudes because they're not going to let them escape for free. He gets there, and Monado collapses, bleeding to death. He couldn't heal himself because he was almost out of stuff. And as he tried, it wouldn't work anymore because he was too far gone. Because magic isn't replenishing blood loss.
Yeah.
His death makes sense.
It's like
He thought it was fine. He had adrenaline. So, of course, he's ignoring the pain because they need to run for their lives. If I stop, I will die. Those are the options. Run or die.
This feels like a guy that learned how to run tabletops in 40K and then switched to D&D.
Yeah, like he learned on a much grimmer, Grimgar.
The Grimgar.
Yeah, he learned on a much grimmer system, and then just was like, I can make this fantasy, right? We can just make this fantasy, and so
Just took away all the DACA and gave him more swords.
Yeah, exactly. No DACA, no cool. You believe a thing hard enough, just fucking death.
Oh, also, there's so much different types of magic in this. Y'all would love it. Like, as it explains, and you see more magic, especially at places that aren't in this city. Other places, other people who've learned stuff, not elemental magic, Adra magic, there's different, all of the different schools of magic. And as people move forward in their abilities, or they become focused on fire evocation or whatever, you get to see how they are and how their personality led themselves to walking that path, or our MC realizing that with a character gone and how that character was the foundation of our squad and how that person did a lot of the damage of our group, and how I was support. I need to learn more offensive moves and be more aggressive to make up for everyone so we don't die. So you get to see him evolve from where he was as a thief to where he is and where he will go. They also go into detail. You get to see how the Thieves Guild works and how everyone in Thieves Guild gets a custom name.
The
Thieves
Slinker.
name.
So there's like,
He's
this sounds
old
like
cat, right? He's old cat. So when you speak with him, he's old cat.
Oh, Mad Eye McGee.
You know,
I like this. It sounds like there's like a shit ton of world building as well.
So much. I'm talking about it, and it makes me want to go and continue. Oh, I want more. And I haven't read this in a long time. So, like, me going back and seeing, there's more volumes, let me read this, and getting it was like, oh, man, I had good taste back then. Even back then, I had good taste. The anime is good, too. And it gives you, it's very pretty and connects you with the characters. And people really liked it when it came out. And I was hoping more people would have read the novel. I was hoping it would have pushed the novel forward.
You could use the anime as a starting point and then go from the novel based on there. Like it's that
smooth. The novel is really only like 3/4 of the first book. But the anime is only 3/4 of the first volume.
All right, that's easy then.
So yeah, you'd be able to get a really nice look as to whether or not you'd enjoy the story.
Yep.
Cool. Well, this sounds like a fun one, man. I probably should have watched this show. I had an opportunity
You can still do it. You'll like it. Maybe we can do it nights.
Yeah.
Oh, nights will be fun.
Yeah, it's in the future.
You know,
I want to spoil so many.
we gotta see how far they got in the King's Avatar live action, and maybe we could do a nights on that.
Oh man, I could talk about King's Avatar. I love it so much. Man,
it's a popular one of our episodes. It keeps being up there in terms of popularity.
I mean, it's a popular IP.
It's pretty much only losing to like boobs, right?
Yeah, the boobs. The boob show. Boob show always is winning because
Human nature exists.
Boost.
It's also a good book. Like
It's not.
They're
Yeah.
fun. They're fun. It's super fun.
That is not a poorly written series.
I actually have a small piece of information. Just looking at our YouTube, which is kind of like a smaller sample size, but it also gives us a pretty good idea of what people are spending time on and like lifetime watch minutes. It's Emperor's Domination, and then Death Mage, and then Tutorial, and then Legendary Moonlight Sculptor.
People just going on YouTube and being like, "Who's ever talked about Death Mage who doesn't want a fourth time?" It's us, I think. I think
Yeah,
it's
pretty
just
much.
us.
Yep, we're the only ones on YouTube talking about
That's
it.
another one I would love to do a Nights on as well.
Actually, I'm up to date on that, so I would
love
not hate
Death
doing
Mage.
that.
Oh, dude, it's so satisfying.
Oh, that sounds like we're starting to talk about business. What's some business?
Oh, business. We got some business. We don't have any new reviews this week, but if you leave one, I'll be alerted of that fact and we'll read it on the show because that's how we do it. Also, we have a Twitter. Also, that one is Tiger Coaster, just at Tiger Coaster. And then email is tiger.rollercoaster@gmail.com if you want to send us any spicy goss.
And that YouTube was.
It's just Tiger Roller Coaster Productions, I think.
And our LinkedIn is.
Oh, man. LinkedIn, I got to set up next. But we also have a Discord. Come join us on our Discord.
Yeah, we get new people almost every episode, and there's a lot of fun conversation that we get. We
Yeah,
get to
man.
all geek out about the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
chapter. Of
Look
Nice
at
for
us in your
Hedgehog Body
local
or
yellow
whatever.
pages.
I'm not gonna call out if you think you're nice to the game. Yo, tag me and we could play. You
Yeah,
let me
man.
know.
We got all kinds of channels for different stuff. How a Discord goes, you know how it does.
Come play some Monster Hunter with us or whatever.
Yeah, or Borderlands 3. We're doing that too. Come join us. Also, we have a Patreon. You can pay $2 and listen to all episodes early if you want.
A week early. And speaking of our Patreon, we do have two of our high-level Patreon supporters, Yuki Okami and
Yuki
James,
Okami.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Kami.
And then also James.
who have
and
both
James.
supported us at a high enough level to be thanked personally in every episode.
That could be you.
So we do really appreciate the support. It has helped us very obviously be a lot more serious about staying on top of getting our episodes out and
Yep. It
producing
gives us
new
the
content.
ability
So
to
it is,
gives us the ability to put actual funds that aren't ours into making the podcast go better. By you guys showing that you actually want a show, you're making a show.
Yeah.
So like,
we
cool.
appreciate the support. But of course, if you can't support us financially, we've all been in that position. Don't feel pressured to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. This
Just
is
tell a friend. Mention us to someone. Word of mouth is the best advertising out there. So
Especially if that friend has money.
Yeah. Yeah, talk about us to all your rich friends who like web novels. Yeah, that's perfect. If you know any rich friends who have web novels, we're the ones.
or any rich friends who you think might like web novels.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Joking aside, thank you for so much for listening and support and any respect you can give it.
Yeah, man.
You guys rock.
We didn't even get to talk about stuff, Richard. What didn't we get to talk about?
Oh man,
I know you got a lot to draw from
my
here,
God,
but you
there's
got to
so
pick
much.
some highlights.
we didn't even get to talk about when they first stepped into the Dust World and they ran across a one-eyed wolf dog and she tried to tame it and it went really badly.
We didn't even get to talk about.
We didn't even get to talk about just how insane Ranta is in that every time he gets a sword, he names the sword something sick,
Yeah.
something awesome,
Yeah.
right? Destroyer, Demolisher, all that other stuff. He had just got a new sword, stepped into this world, fought a dude who had an electric sword, killed the dude who got an electric sword, picked it up, named it 2.0 of the new thing, got back in the world, discovered the sword doesn't work, threw it away.
I didn't even get to talk about.
One more.
Oh man. Didn't even get to talk about how profoundly sad every funeral is.
Oh
Oh,
man,
Jesus.
I bet they are.
Oh, we talk about funerals.
Oh man, that's too real. Oh well, that seems like a wonderful dower now to go out on. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
We'll be back again in a couple weeks. Sooner if you support us on Patreon. And
I mean, it's still every 2 weeks, but also it'll be sooner if you support us between now and then on Patreon.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Also, we have bonus content on there if you pay a little bit more. We try to put that out on the off weeks if we can. So like,
We're
If you have any
working on it.
suggestions, please let us know if you want us to do something or check out something.
yeah, we're always willing to do some experimental podcast nonsense. You know.
We'll see you in a couple weeks, and thanks for listening.
See ya.
Peace.
Bye bye.
Tiger Roller Coaster Productions. Tigers are scary. You try to get off.